So, everybody is now aware that Vaush is in quite a lot of hot water right now after he accidentally flashed a to be sorted folder on his screen, which included a lot of I heard at least there were two questionable images, and at least one of them was like lolly, pretty icy, pretty bad. Um, and so the lolly shit was pretty disappointing, kind of concerning. And H3H3 called him out, talked about it. Now we are going to see Vosh's response.
This is a video I probably should have made a long time ago. There are two main reasons why I haven't. For one, everything we're about to talk about has been discussed over and over and over again on this channel, in live streams and in videos. Some of it has been discussed to death. Over engagement with the topic has caused it to have a disproportionate influence both on my community and on the way people outside of my community perceive me and my channel. The second main reason I've been hesitant to make this video is because experience has taught me that, generally speaking, if folks want to hate you or distrust you or whatever else, it's pretty difficult to convince them otherwise. Sometimes, if you're unpopular enough, even if you've got a good point to make, just the attempt to change people's minds can come across as kind of self-incriminating. You actually ground them further in the positions they already have. You know, it's one of those deals where the people who need to hear it won't listen, and the people who will listen don't need to hear it again. Let's get right to it then. Let's not waste time. What am I actually talking about? Well, I hate to drop this on the people who just innocently watch me for my political content and don't engage in any broader community drama. Some folks online have called me a pedophile. Now, this in and of itself isn't actually that noteworthy. With the political climate being what it is, folks are getting accused of being pedophiles on Twitter left and right. It's pretty common. But some people have called me this way more insistently and a lot louder. So why? Remember how I said self-defense can come across as kind of incriminating even if it's accurate or well-intentioned? Yeah, even though I've gone over all this before on stream or in videos, I wasn't exactly jumping at the bit to make a why I'm not a video. That's not... It's a rough subject, is what I'm saying. You know, that's one of the reasons why it's so effective as a smear, of course.
Okay, I do disagree only with the framing thus far, only with the thing, because like there's something new that just came out. The lolly thing was new. This just happened. He's talked about some of the shit in the past, but the new stuff, no, he hasn't.
It's just an incredibly difficult subject to engage with. So let's not waste any more time. We've got a lot to go through. What then is this video about? What do I have to say, and why do I want to say it? What are my goals in making the video? Well, the gist of it is this. When people accuse me of being a pedophile, they usually do so while presenting pieces of evidence, often clips from my live streams, that make me look bad. While I do think that a lot of the claims and pieces of so-called evidence used against me range from being uncharitable to outright dishonest, the fact remains that I have said some incredibly stupid shit on this channel, especially really early on, like right when I started streaming. And I don't fault anyone for seeing clips from that and being suspect of me. You know, I wasn't doing myself any favors, I'll say that much. For a lot of them, such as the ones where I'm making a point that is overall good and like uncontroversial, but I do a bad job of making it, there's nothing for me to really like debunk, you know? It's not a takedown. It's more a matter of charity. You know, I have to go and look at these clips and explain, what do they mean, you know? What was I thinking? What was I saying? Is this clip like so dishonestly cut that, you know, no reasonable person would interpret it as looking bad if seeing the full context? Or was I saying really stupid shit and I'm going to have to like work to explain what my thought process was at the time? And past that point, it's up to other people to either believe my charitable explanations or believe significantly less charitable ones. You know, that's up to them. In addition to some of the legitimately really stupid shit I've said, I'll also cover some of the more bullshit accusations because I don't know, they're transparently bullshit, a lot of them. I feel like you would have to already dislike me to read anything from them. But, you know, a lot of it is that, so I need to sort of point that out too. So as far as I can see, there are 4 groups of people that I'm addressing here, more or less. The first group is my core audience, the people who have seen me address this and provide context for this and deal with this bullshit a million times.
Wait, we don't really need to see all of his review of the clips. We already know that a lot of those were either out of context or not.
Unfortunately for me.
All right, let's skip to the middle way in, because we don't need to see him going through the clips again. Because he does talk about the folder soon.
So after all that, now we finally arrive at this most recent drama, the incident that lit a fire under Drama YouTube and is, to my mind, the only thing I've done in the past 4 years that actually looks bad. It's pretty embarrassing, to say the least. So there I was, streaming a few weeks ago, browsing a men's fashion site. I wanted to look at an image more closely, so I right-clicked to open the image in a new window, but then accidentally instead clicked the Save As tab in the right-click drop-down menu. Now, because I am, as has been extensively demonstrated in this video, a fucking idiot, my preferred strategy for keeping my desktop clean is to keep a single big folder called To Be Sorted, where every image, document, music file, whatever I happen to download gets sent. This is an insane thing to have as a live streamer, but you know, there you go. It's me. And now, of course, that folder had porn in it. So I immediately ended the stream and deleted the VOD, even if it weren't just embarrassing to make a mistake like that as one of the largest political live streamers on the platform. It's TOS. You got to delete the VOD. So I stream with no delay, and folks are always screen capturing the feed. So I knew the contents of my To Be Sorted folder and the preview window were irrevocably public knowledge. But to be honest, that didn't really bother me too much. It was embarrassing, sure, but mostly because it made me look like a careless idiot, not because I was ashamed of the, like, furry demon monster GF big dick porn stuff I knew I had in there. You know, I had rambled about liking all that stuff on stream before, not a secret, and I thought, you know, maybe, in a way, this fuck up would come across kind of charming. You know, like, that's my streamer, that f***ing idiot right there. My community was already making a big joke of it by the time I went live again. Of course, I knew as soon as the folder opened on stream that it would be pretty easy for people to lie about what it contained, to stir up drama or cause me trouble or for any other reason. So when later on in that stream, one or two people came into chat and they said, hey, there was lolly in there, you know, I figured they were just causing trouble and I banned them. Of course, we know where this is going. By the next day, I had learned from what felt like the entire goddamn internet that two of the images in my folder preview window were actually from a well-known lolicon artist, and therefore definitely intended to be lolly shit, which has to be the worst possible way to find out about that sort of thing. Now, obviously, the accusation here isn't just that I had those images saved. That part's true, not really an accusation, but also that I must have known that they were lolicon and saved them because they were lolicon. Now, the obvious and predictable, but nonetheless true response from me is that no, I didn't know that. And that must not have been the impression I got from those two drawings, because if I had gotten that impression, then I wouldn't have saved them. You know, I mean, drawings are abstractions, and art styles and body proportions vary massively, even for characters that are unambiguously adults. That doesn't mean lolly shit isn't a thing or a problem. I've bitched about it being a problem like a lot on stream. It just means that carelessly or inattentively failing to notice it isn't exactly impossible. Yeah, I know what some people are going to say. You know, no, you must have known. There's no way you didn't know. And like what am I going to do? Make a evidentiary argument here? You know, like,
Yeah, the challenging part here at this point is now it's just gonna be yeah huh nah yeah huh nah. Like this is what makes this situation so challenging. Also, this controversy really difficult for Vaush to navigate, because it's ultimately his word versus everyone else's word at this point. And there's nothing else. What else can you do besides kind of just take their word for it?
like I'm not putting up the images so we can argue about the pixels or the proportions or whatever. I know fully well that like 99.9% of people who have heard about this drama haven't seen the images, nor do I think those people should go looking for them, obviously. So it's pretty much entirely a take me at my word or don't kind of situation where people are free to lie about the drawings, or, as I've already seen on Twitter, just post other really bad looking shit and say that's what I had in my folder. There's not much I can do about it, right? It's all totally unfalsifiable, and people are going to make whatever assumptions and inferences they want to make. All I can really say is that I didn't notice the problem while saving the drawings, the same way a person could fail to notice any element of any drawing if they were careless or inattentive or distracted. Hell, chat also pretty much immediately clocked two other drawings in the folder preview window as being AI art, something else I didn't notice, and they gave me plenty of shit for that too, because I'm not a big fan of AI art. You know, I think I've done a good job of demonstrating a tendency towards carelessness, if nothing else. So leaving that stupid, least charitable argument aside, someone might then ask, okay, I get it. It's possible to make a mistake like that. Why then would you save the images? And what about them did you like? And look, there's really no way of saying this without sounding crass or flippant or whatever, but you know, it's already pretty revealing video. There's actually a very clear and simple explanation for why, you know, for not just those two drawings, but in fact, all the drawings in that
I'm
folder
scared.
and all my porn tastes generally. And it's an explanation that is extremely well known and well substantiated. I'm a size queen. I like big dicks. Yeah, I was looking through drawn porn like furry or hentai or whatever else. I saw big well-drawn dicks. I thought, cool, and saved the drawings, then never looked at them again, as evidenced by the fact they are in a big dump folder literally called to be sorted. That's, that's the extent of the consideration that I gave those two drawings before my community and then the entire internet hopefully corrected my mistake. It's hard to even say anything about it. 5 seconds of, ooh, nice dick, cool line art, saved. And it's a whole discourse. I wish I had an answer that was more satisfying, but really for something like this, I feel like people are going to believe what they believe. I do think there is a real argument to be made about carelessness, especially with regard to lolicon and its seeming omnipresence in the anime community. You don't have to know much about anime to know that's an issue with it. I find it repellent, and I've been bitching about it for years. Plenty of that bitching has been on stream too. But it's possible to find something repellent while also not being perfectly vigilant about it, especially in art where stylization and abstraction can kind of, cloud awareness and judgment of the extent to which any artists you follow or people in the community might be doing sussy shit, right? Pardon me for taking my most indefensible position yet on this, in this video. In the history of my channel, I actually do like some anime, and there's a lot of really good shit out there in the anime community broadly, and in a lot of the sick anime babes getting railed on Twitter. I'm sorry, like,
I'm scared.
Often that is also cool. And I hate the fact that,
I'm frightened right now.
Pervasiveness of lolicon means that the entire community is tainted, basically, right? I don't like the fact that, like, you could be looking through what looks like a bunch of totally, like, normal, fine, cool babes getting railed by big dicks, whatever you're into, while also feeling like you have to be vigilant that in this incredibly normalized process, some of these drawings might be of characters that are canonically underage, or that, like, an artist who generally draws in a kind of like cartoony style might be fine, but then another artist does that, but then they're like actually drawing like they're meant to be teenagers or whatever. I don't like it. And it's a normalization issue. And I think one of the best ways you could deal with it is by being aware. I'm not perfectly aware, so I fucked up. This wasn't the first time that I fucked up in this specific regard. After the whole child labor argument saga, people went through a bunch of likes in an old public Twitter or, porn account that I had, and over like thousands of liked, furry big dick monster girl images or whatever. I think they found one that was like the character was meant to be a teenager. And it's not surprising to me that that might happen because, I'm running between classes, scrolling on my phone. I look at an image maybe 2 or 3 seconds before I like. The degree of scrutiny required there indicates that this goes beyond some kind of like matter of personal temperance and extends broadly into like, how weird is it that that's something that's been that normalized, Anyway, I don't mean to like make a big point or make it like a broader issue, as a way of pulling attention away from me up. I just think it's a broader issue, people are going to say what they're going to say. They can judge me for what they're going to judge me for. I think a lot of people have been real and charitable. I think it's insane to say this like, yeah, it's a pedophile. You got him. I think that's insane. But again, it's not really an evidentiary argument that I can make. So, what am I supposed to do? Yeah, I don't know. God willing.
I don't, yeah, this is like an impossible situation to sort of like recover from as far as the like rhetorically. Like, he's not going to be able to debate his way out of that one. Also, I'm not sure I agree with the notion that, like, he's like, I don't like that you should have to be vigilant or something. It's like, if you're going to watch, like, weird shit, then, like, that kind of comes with it, right? Like, you're going to, yeah, like, there is a bit of an expectation that you should be vigilant, that you're not crossing a line, I guess, whatever that personal line might be, if it's already weird shit. But still, like, there is a degree of responsibility there. Can you express what Vaush actually did wrong? Who did he hurt? Well, he himself has acknowledged that even if no children were harmed in like the production of some kind of lolly or CP or something, you're still glorifying that kind of behavior, and you're also contributing to the overall demand for that kind of content, which does have negative or potential negatives. Yeah, apparently, yeah, I do see what you're saying, Elbow. Also, that there was like animal abuse stuff in there too that was pretty fucked up. Do you think he lied about mistaking Lolly for short stack? Well, that is a little bit contradictory too, because it says, because he was like, yeah, you know how goblins are drawn, haha. But then I was not looking at them even. I didn't even notice.
So yeah, that's the long and short of it. I'm sure there are other clips or screenshots or arguments out there that people have thrown into their big anti-me documents. But like I said, I wanted to focus on the accusations that I feel are at least somewhat grounded. If I took the time to tackle all the obviously fake or disingenuous shit, we'd be here forever. And I think it would take away from the stuff I actually did feel I needed to address. Again, walking that line. There is a lot of bullshit, but I you know, I don't want to convey the impression that I feel every attack against me is illegitimate, or at least not properly motivated. So yeah, this isn't about debunking a narrative, you know, it's about waving away the most transparently bullshit stuff so that I can focus on explaining the actual mistakes that I've made, the actual stupid shit that I've said, providing context and laying out my thought process so folks on the fence have all the information before deciding to lean charitably or not. Yeah, I can't make someone be charitable. It's just up to how they see things. And, you know, I can't ever view all this drama from an outside perspective. I'll always be biased because I am literally the only person who really knows how I feel and why I've said the things I said. And, but to cap it all off, to cap all this off, I'd still like to try my hand at it. I'd like to try and present the charitable narrative, how I feel this all looks with all the information and how I hope people take it. You know, again,
All right, let's take it away, Vaush.
This is what I hope for. You know,
Let's hear
I
it.
have said some really, really stupid, difficult to defend stuff. That much is clear. But almost all of it comes from the very, very beginning of my time as a live streamer. Looking at it all laid out like this, 5 or so years of drama and accusations, I think it should be clear to people who have watched this far that the explanatory variable in all those old clips was my stupid debate bro brain. The obsession with inane hypotheticals and devil's advocates and shock value bullshit, which I employed because I thought using examples and comparisons that normies couldn't handle proved I was smart. It really is impossible to overstate how much I dislike the me in those clips, how I used to act in general. That being said, the terrible arguments and hypotheticals really were contained to those shock value debate bro moments. And as I stopped being that kind of debate bro, the terrible arguments and hypotheticals stopped. And that's why just about every clip used against me is at least 4 years old. They're more or less contained to a period of time during which I employed a rhetorical style that I would describe as stupid and insufferable. You know, even if the point I was making was fundamentally okay, I was also just way worse at communicating, which didn't help me. And that's another thing I'd like to stress. You know, if anything has been thoroughly, objectively, uncontroversially demonstrated in all of this, it's that I'm a loudmouth. I can't shut the fuck up. I have no filter, etc. Worse then than it is now, but nonetheless, it's a character trait. But in all the hundreds of times that sex or sexuality or kink or whatever else has come up on the stream, sometimes while I'm near blackout drunk from celebrating some event or another, you know, no filter, I've always been really, really blunt and consistent about what I'm actually into in people, whether it be people my height or people with big round glasses or people with really dark, tired looking eye circles or pronounced collarbones or aquiline noses or whatever else. You know, I know this is a low bar, but
I'm scared.
It's really weird to me because people accuse me of being a secret pedophile who accidentally let his mask slip by virtue of several months of extremely loud, abrasive, attention-grabbing, optically dogshit arguments, and yet also, back then and now, has been really consistent in wanting a girlfriend who looks like Reagan Ridley from Inside Job. You know, like, that's a very novel way of letting the mask slip, right? Like, you know, no filter whatsoever. Clearly a poor sense of how other people will, you know, interpret his words at times. Not always the best communicator. And yet it's every time this happens, it's always contained to hyperbolic debate bro bullshit. It's always shock value, rhetorical bullshit, which again, like, I know, low bar, right? But that, to me at least, that's the pattern. That's the clear pattern. And I don't do that anymore. I'm a lot better at making arguments than I used to be. I'm a lot less, I don't know. I'm not trying to deflect. I'm a lot less autistic than I used to be. I don't know. At least marginally. These edgelord debate bro tendencies led me to think that the best way to construct my arguments and convince people that I was edgy and smart and blah, blah, blah is...
I don't think that he's not taking accountability. I think that he is making excuses. Well, maybe he's making excuses. I guess did he say that he was sorry or that he fucked up? I mean, he's been saying he was an idiot, that it was a mistake. So seems like he's taking sort of accountability. But yeah, this definitely is like a defense kind of video. So it always is going to come across that way a little bit, even if he's taking accountability as well as he can. But I do think that he could do better at being like, yeah, this was like an error, made a mistake. I'm going to therapy. I'll see you guys later for a little bit. and then just log off for a bit, you know? That seems like a better thing. I feel like he also is taking the approach of um he seems to think a lot of this is more about the clips. I never got that impression. I always just thought it was mostly about the lolly shit. And then because the lolly stuff, the clips were recontextualized, I guess with H3 stuff. But I feel like he's spending a lot of time explaining like the rhetoric and everything when that I don't really was that really anyone's like main point of concern?
Was through the invocation of the kind of stuff that I have been dealing with the consequences of for 5 years. I, more than anyone, know the problems with those arguments. I just think that they indict me in different ways than people think they indict me. I think if nothing else, I mean, I think they just make me look like a fucking idiot. You know, I have one that I'm trying to be less of. Ideally, I would like that. I certainly don't think I act now the way I did then. I don't think 5 years from now I will look at me now and think as poorly of me as I do looking at me 5 years ago. There has been some improvement. That's the charitable explanation. That's the best I can offer. I think I set the stage with that child labor argument. You know, me being who I am, I mean, I was always going to get on, people's nerves. And to an extent, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. A degree of abrasiveness, I think, is a necessary and endearing trait in some people. Cope, I know. But I think that a lot of the stuff that's happened in my career over the past 4 years has been tainted by the way I made those initial arguments. And a lot of the stuff people throw at me, they wouldn't have thought to throw at me if it wasn't for that initial poisoning of the well. I think a lot of this is inertial. It builds up, and I don't know how to stop that inertia, right? I mean, people say, you talk about this often all the time, you CP on your stream, but well, here I am talking about it again. Will this be the last time, or will a month from now I'll be talking to someone and they'll be like, aren't you that pedophile? And what am I going to do? Stop the conversation and link them the video? Inertia is a difficult thing to stop. I think that's actually like the meaning of inertia, like definitionally. So I could opine at length about how a lot of the hate I get is inconsistent. It's all a big popularity contest, and I'm an easy target, and people get upset with me for shit they'd write off if other people did it, and blah, blah. But pointing out all of those extremely true and correct facts, it doesn't solve the problem. I don't want to be disliked. I don't even really want to be controversial. I think the stuff that I advocate for is universally good. I want everyone to live a better life. People disagree about how to do that, but as long as you're on the path, as long as you think people being happy is a good thing to fight for, then I think there's at least some agreement to be had. I don't want to be controversial for that reason, or for a lot of the reasons I seem to be. I get into fights with people who agree with me on like 99% of shit. I think my channel's a cool and positive place.
I mean, yeah, I can kind of get that, I guess. Like, I'm trying to think of how I feel about that, like from my perspective. I don't really care that I'm disliked, and I don't really want to be liked. I wouldn't say that I want to be disliked. That would be kind of a stretch. I'm not, I'm just trying to compare how I feel as a streamer also to what Vaush is saying, and how much I can empathize with it. I usually struggle with like motivation and stuff. But as far as wanting to be liked or something, I feel like nah, I don't really care that much. I guess I've always said that I don't care if people hate me. I just want them to hate me for the right reasons. Or, I don't like when they hate me for the wrong reasons. So maybe that's kind of the same thing that Vaush is getting at. Like, because, yeah, I don't want people to, like, hate me because they think that, I like, killed a puppy or something, when it's like, that I didn't do that. That's not true. So I can empathize with that, yeah.
And it and my community are both a big source of pride for me. So I'd like it if everyone, or half of everyone, some proportion of everyone, could see it that way.
Do you have Lolly on your computer, Hunter? If not, you guys are not the same. One, no, I don't. And two, I didn't say we're the same in that regard. I was just saying as we're both streamers.
There's not much I can do about the optics black hole, though, at least not right away. I don't expect this video will get much positive attention on release. I think it's going to be kind of broadly ridiculed, largely, I think, from folks trashing it who haven't actually watched it. This is something that I expect. This is something we all know will happen. Whether or not you agree with me on any of this, you know that'll happen. It's unfortunate, but I can't make that not happen. I can't, like, rewrite reality. So if I can't do that, then I just have to accept it. And I'm sure there will be, like, drama YouTubers who comb over it and pause every 2 seconds to talk about the, like, pedophilic contour of my frontal lobe or whatever. You know, they'll just
I was about
make
to
a big
point that
laugh riot
out.
out of it. Still, in spite of all of that, as best as I can, it's honest and straightforward, and I don't think there's much I can do besides present it that way and let people make their own judgments. So yeah, that's it. I'm done making all of the arguments about my past and how people perceive me and blah, blah, blah. I want to take a second here at the end to directly address just my audience, what I'm hoping for in the future and what I'm asking for from them. You can still watch if you want, but if you don't care, then you can leave without missing anything. So to my audience, thanks for sitting through the whole thing. I know you don't have much of an attention span, especially because you're not used to this type of content on the channel. Don't laugh.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely think that he's spending a lot of time explaining, and I feel like there's certain things that like he could just apologize for the lapse. If you're saying I was just a lapse of judgment, apologize for it. Apologize for how it's negatively impacted your community and your reputation, and explain how you are going to seek the necessary means to, I don't know, get better, or at least just ensure this doesn't happen again, I guess. I don't know. It just, there are ways that I feel like I can understand, chat, why you're saying you feel that he didn't fully address it that well, because, and I'm not trying to like I said before, I mean, I've always been trying to take a sort of fair approach because I recognize how many people do act in bad faith towards Vaush. But the lolly shit, it's indefensible. And it's disappointing. And if he says it's a lapse of judgment, okay. But then I do think that would warrant like an apology. I mean, maybe it's still in there. I mean, I didn't really
Look, first of all, I want to apologize for making it
Oh.
so difficult to be a fan of mine
Oh,
and a member of my community.
kind of an apology.
Seriously,
Okay.
I'm sorry. In this respect, at least, you know, I think I've let you guys down. I think this is a great community, you know, exceptional even. And as a consequence of my obstinance and carelessness and stupid debate bro hypotheticals, many of you have been ostracized from other online communities or harassed on my behalf. The content of this channel and my messaging is unambiguously progressive and inclusive and good-spirited, you know? It's that might not be the popular conception of me and my content, but it remains true nevertheless. None of the people who enjoy my content for those reasons expected, I imagine, to be pushed out of other communities with similar values because they were a part of mine, because of me and my reputation. Yeah, I don't want that to continue being the case,
Well,
but I don't
yeah,
really...
that was actually that was funny. I was like, he really might want to just say like, I apologize, maybe even at least to your fans. He kind of did though. Okay. I do feel like he's kind of sidestepping still. Like, I don't know. It's like, feels like he's like avoiding it. Like, I don't know. I'm not even sure how to articulate what's missing here. I think it might just be that, yeah, feels like deflection, and maybe that's why he brought that up at the beginning, to be like, it's hard for it not to seem that way.
really know what I can do to change it. You know, there's already such a massive gulf between what I know I am and what people think I am. The inertia of the uncharitability that I'm trying to push back against, it just feels overwhelming at times. While I'm working on that, you can help.
I don't like that approach. It was an apology to the fans for making it hard to be my fan. So it was not an apology for the thing. And then bringing up the uncharitability thing again. And I get that that's a problem, but like by focusing on it to this extent, it does seem like you're just deflecting the problem. Or it just does seem like you're trying to be like, well, you see, there's so many people that are bad faith and victimizing me. And not to mention, I mean, he did say he knows there's going to be people that are commenting on my video about how bad it was before watching it. And he admitted he didn't really watch H3's video. He just kind of went off based on what other people are saying. So I don't know, but it does come across uncharitable a little bit there. Do you think you would talk to us about this?
Push back against it. It
I
just feels
asked him
overwhelming.
to. He doesn't
at
want
times.
to.
While I'm working on that, you can help. You know, I want you guys to chill. Stop fighting on my behalf. Stop arguing for me against others, especially on the subject of this video. That's one of the reasons I made this video. You know, I saw so many people in my community tirelessly arguing against the worst and most dishonest shit people say about me, and I wanted them to have something that they could point to. This video, 5 years of drama, of bad faith bullshit and honest skepticism condensed and addressed as clearly and as honestly as I could. If you're in another community and someone is giving you shit because they think you support a pedophile, point them to this video. And if they don't want to watch it, then that's that. You know, there's nothing you can do about it. It's their choice, right? This is something that we've seen time and time again. People don't just change their minds because you've argued them out of a point. I mean, it's very rare. You have to make people want to believe. You have to sell them the argument. And if the argument is that this community is good, then hey, or that I'm good, look.
Yeah, this just feels like he's obfuscating. It feels like this video is way more focused on the uncharitability of people than with the actual issue. There are people that are being uncharitable, but people are being uncharitable more recently because of the lolly thing. And he probably should have just posted like a really short video just addressing that, saying like, I fucked up, I made a mistake, I'm really sorry. You know, then something from there, maybe. I don't know. Shows that just if you trust somebody's POV doesn't mean you should trust them ethically. Yeah, and that's another thing too that's really important. I think that like a lot of people need to understand that this is a really disappointing mistake here. Obviously, Vaush is in the wrong. He messed up. But that doesn't mean everything he's ever said is incorrect. And it doesn't mean that he is actually really bad at debate or something. Like, obviously, he has skill. Obviously, he is a talented speaker and a powerful advocate when it comes to progressive policies. But this shit is disappointing. Yeah, you're right. Maybe the lolly is possibly a mistake, but not the animal abuse. Yeah, that's really fucked up, too. This mistake thing is dodging. I don't think that calling it a mistake is you're acknowledging that this was something bad that you did. I think that that's a little bit uncharitable there to act as though calling it a mistake is like deflecting. He's acknowledging fault in that case, but his defense is that he didn't know. Me saying mistake is just repeating what he said. But yeah, no, chat, you're right. He did say that he could see how it was probably lolly, and that is also really fucked up. If you want to support the channel, please consider becoming a member today. Members get early access to videos, access to all the stream VODs, and exclusive access to emotes as well. So if you'd like to support the channel, become a member today.